I'm Gabby. If you're new to the channel, this is kind of a different thing than we've done before in the past, trying to branch out and not do just gameplay. If you want to see more of this type of content, we do a lot more of this on TikTok. But today I wanted to do a brief tour of my office, which is also my library. The last video I did sitting down talking, I talked about a lot of spooky, cozy games. I feel like people kind of like that cozy vibe that has been going on lately, so I want to just keep moving with that and talk about all the books that I have on display in my office, with the caveat that this house is much smaller than the one that we previously lived in, and so we do have boxes and boxes and boxes of books packed up. So the ones that I choose to display are mostly very memorable or important in some way. I will say that I do have like 2 or 3 shelves that are just kind of like a catch-all right now, as in books that were given to me or books that I picked up for someone else or things that I'm going to be donating or getting rid of. So I'll move past those pretty quickly when we get into it. If you're interested in this kind of thing, we do also have books all throughout our house, and this is by no means an exhaustive list, like I said. And Dalton also has much larger bookshelves in his office with different types of books that are important to him that are on display. So if you'd like to see a tour of the books in his office and his bookshelves, let me know. Otherwise, let's get into kind of the cozy vibe of my room.
Switching to voiceover mode because the audio I recorded is actually garbage. Here is an overview of the first bookshelf you come into next to my desk, so the one that gets shown in my videos probably most often. And starting at the top, I have my record player here with a pumpkin on top right here because I don't actually have the cord that the record player came with, and I have lost it since we moved. Next to my record player, I have my albums on display, and I wish I could say that I did a better job of placing these in a certain order or putting a specific one in front, but I actually just bought this album the most recently, and I think it still kind of matches the fall vibes of the rest of the room, so I'm keeping it. And then behind that, I have the flowers from my wedding, which are dried. We actually did all dried flowers for our wedding, and I think they're gorgeous, and they really fit the vibe of this room. Moving down, we have my Midnight's album, which is iconic and beautiful in all of its glory. And I also have a painted water bottle. This is Prince Zuko, and one of Tarik's friends actually painted this for me, and he's a fantastic artist, so I'll try and link him. I think he has an Instagram, so I can put that. I don't really know if he does commissions. Maybe I should shut up. Moving on to one of my favorite shelves, I have my Halo toys on display. These aren't actually Legos, but I forget the name that they are. Also got my Monk box display, never been opened, prime condition, mint if you will. And then I have my collection of graphic novels and CDs. All of my graphic novels are Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you don't know, I'm a huge fan. And I think I have one Angel in there somewhere, but yeah, other than that, they are all Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then I have a collection of mystery items, including a Surf's Up CD, a CD by my cousin Daniel, and a Michelangelo art book, and an unopened Luke Bryan CD. I'm sure that's serving a purpose there. Moving down to our next shelf, we have a lot of fun little things in here. We have my Box Bridgerton collection. This is unopened because I read these books on my Kindle, but they absolutely will not stay unopened for very long because I definitely will be rereading these. I also got this little frog plush from that company that is blowing up on TikTok shop. It was cute. I also have some books behind it that are just more Bridgerton adaptation books or accommodation books, if you will. So this is not the permanent setup. They'll be displayed at some point. Plus a pumpkin. Then over here, this is where we get into some of the miscellaneous shelves for some reason. I think this was intended to be all of Cassandra Clare's books, but for some reason, only half of them got unpacked and the rest are still in boxes. I also have all of Lois Lowry's books here. That I have, at least. And then just some other books that I enjoy and some that just ended up in here randomly, including The Lovely Bones and Dumpling, which are both fantastic books. I would categorize this as more of the young adult fiction section, which I typically don't have a lot of on display. Moving down to my mystery novel section, I used to be a huge Sandra Brown fan. As you can see, most of those books are Sandra Brown. And then the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series, which I also loved. Again, another kind of random one. 2 of 3 of the Aragon book. Don't know where the third one is. And then The Host by Stephanie Meyer, and some books that my sister gave me that I have never read and know nothing about. Now for the truly random books, because nobody sees this down here. These are, sorry if you like any of these books. These are all books that I plan to donate. We actually had a book swap in our city recently that I didn't end up making it to, and these were some of the books that I was going to be bringing. They're just not things that I enjoyed or have read. And this I'm only going to show very briefly because these are books that are planning to be gifts for other people. One of these is for Cathy. Can you please figure out which one it is? Cathy, do not watch. Moving on to the section that is behind my desk, and a little shout out to myself in that reflection. You probably don't see most of this because it gets blocked by my chair, but I do really like this setup. So if you have any questions about where stuff is from, let me know, because I'm only going to be talking about the books, but I think the whole vibe is very cute and cozy. So let's go into the first section. I have Lord of the Rings 1 volume edition. We have a lot of Lord of the Rings floating around, so of course one ended up here, as well as Catcher in the Rye and The Odyssey by Homer. Couldn't tell you why those exist, but they are there. Next section, these are really random. I've got East of West, which is a graphic novel, book I've never heard of, 2 fake books that have things in them, and then my childhood prized possession, Sam Bangs and Moonshine, which was actually my father's book as a child. Next section, we have some classics, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Taming of the Shrew, and The Awakening by Kate Chopin, which is one of my favorite books of all time, plus a cute little Totoro. Moving down to the section below, I have 2 Sarah J. Maas books, shaky camera, sorry, as well as from Blood and Ash, The Magician's King, I do have The Magicians around here somewhere, and The Wizard of Oz. Next section, we got that little guy, and then we also have all of our classic display books. So these are only for display purposes that have been purchased at like Goodwill, that are mostly just for decoration, but maybe great books. Moving down, we have 3 of the Orphan of Chaos books, which are Dalton's favorite. No idea why they're in here. And 1 book that actually belongs with another book on the other shelf. Don't really know how that happened. Then we have my Chronicles of Narnia and Major Tales and Poems by Edgar Allan Poe, as well as my handmade Led Zeppelin sign. Moving down to the last section, this is another one of those random, I don't remember if I was giving these away, Nicholas Sparks, Debbie Macomber, and a really great book, Linger, that I read whenever I was in high school. The rest of these, I don't know why they're here. And for the last shelf in my office, which has the least amount of books and serves the most utility for me because it is completely out of camera, let's get into what books I have on display over here. Starting with 3 books by Khalid Hosseini, which I'm sure I'm butchering, but writes absolutely beautiful novels. These are all fantastic if you haven't read them. My favorite is probably 1,000 Splendid Suns. And moving down to my next section, this shelf only exists to put books that I have just purchased. So I actually do a video on TikTok where I get into all of these books that I just bought. Most are from Goodwill. So if you're curious my thoughts on any of those, go check that out. And the one you've all been waiting for, this is my Twilight series collection, plus a director's cut notebook. What? Of course I have the Twilight series. I was reading books in high school at that age. Come on, get with it. And then the last section in my entire office, I have 5 Witcher books that I just purchased because they were on sale, and I'm hoping to complete the collection, and I'm very sorry they don't match to only my sister because that's what she cares about. And a quick overview of the entire room, only focusing on the areas that I cleaned for this video. Please enjoy my cozy office tour.
So that has been a little overview of all the books in my office and my little cozy corner of the world. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this, let me know. If you have book recommendations for me, also let me know. And like I said, if you want to see more things like this on our channel, recommend what you want to see. And if you want to see more book type videos or interested in seeing a different genre of books, let me know and we can have Dalton do a tour of the books in his office, or just, whatever you guys want to see. So thank you for watching as always, and make sure you're following to see more things.